Hello and welcome to a live stage event. My name is Richard Mautojikunu. I'm from the Youth Hub and I'm joined by Anna.
You want me to introduce
Yeah.
myself? Hi, everyone. I'm Ana Aguilera, Director for Adolescent and Youth, Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights and Gender Health, and personal friend of Richard's.
Yes, it's been 7 years since we know each other and
Yeah.
finally we get to also work more professionally in this role, where today we would be talking more about how to facilitate youth partnership, and our session focuses on demonstrating why cross-stakeholder engagement to improve youth partnership in adolescent youth sexual reproductive health and right can facilitate action learning and help organizations build, have real-time solutions, network, and support youth partnership. And just a brief about the Youth Hub. The Youth Hub helps to improve young people's partnership in adolescent sexual reproductive health and right by facilitating action learning and influencing norm change approach. So we believe that partnership should be equitable, mutually respectful, and beneficial relationship between all actors, including young people. And we believe that by using action learning, we are able to generate innovative solutions to complex problems that we face within the AYSRHR field. And we are also able to develop new and creative ways for adolescents and youth to be meaningfully involved in decision-making, again, in the AYSRHR field. And today, we just want to also talk a bit about our action learning cycle, which Gender Health is part of. We also have Kami Fund, Men Engage Alliance, we have Restless Development, and Athena Network. And today we'll be joined by also one of our colleagues from Athena Network virtually. So we'll tell you brief about what the action learning cycle is about and how we are using this cycle to help organizations come together to generate their own ideas and to collectively solve some of the challenges they face within the adolescent sexual reproductive health and right field. So thank you for joining us. And I would go straight to Anna with kind of our first question, which focuses again on action learning, but why Gender Health decided to be part of the action learning, and how would you describe your experience with the Youth Hub Action Learning Group, especially as a collaborative and cross-stakeholder problem-solving process?
Very long question, Richard. Thank you. For those of us who maybe may not be familiar with Gender Health, it is a sexual and reproductive health and rights nonprofit international organization. We work across the globe, 13 countries, and core to our work is meaningfully engaging young people across sexual and reproductive health and rights, gender-based violence programming, and maternal and child health work. So why did we join another working group?
Exactly.
We joined this group because it's different from our technical working groups. It's really focused on building trust and collaboration and solving hard problems. And I think sometimes international organizations feel like we need to justify a little bit, who we are, what we bring to the table, why we're unique. But the collective action learning cycle has been really amazing because it's been able to bring a large group of organizations in a safe space to say, yes, we all bring unique perspectives and expertise. And Gender Health, we have a suite of tools focused on gender, youth, and social inclusion integration. And core to it is the idea that we need to change those deeply rooted gender and inequitable norms that really impact everything we do, including our work with young people. So we brought our suite of our GYSI tools, our markers, our staff transformation manuals, and we wanted to bring those to share with folks like Restless Development and other groups. But we also wanted to learn, because we know no one is perfect. So I really have to commend the Yield Hub, because it's not very easy to bring in a virtual space a place of trust and vulnerability, but we've been able to do that, and I'm really grateful that Gender Health is part of this process.
Well, and we are also very... Why was I interrupting this beautiful clap? And we are also very grateful to have Gender Health as part of our action learning cycle, because we also see how much they are contributing and supporting some of the organizations who are part of the cycle. And like Anna mentioned, it's a space, there's no pre-commitment to do, to perform, to show. Let's say that it's not always that we have to come up with solutions. Sometimes reflecting on what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, also helps you change your approach. And we see how Gender Health is also supporting other organizations, especially also through their gender analysis framework that we also presented at a UPRIT conference, helping some organizations think about how to be gender transformative, what does it mean? And it's not your regular webinar that you go on for 1 hour. It's just a lot of reflection, a lot of saying this works, it does not work. So we are definitely happy to have Gender Health on board. Next, we would also, so many claps. But again, we would also hear from one of our Action Learning Group members, Athena Network. They are also part of the Action Learning Cycle. And Ola is joining us from Nigeria and will also share their own experience being part of our Action Learning Cycle. So Ola, thank you for joining us live and let us know.
Hello everyone, my name is Olaoluwa Bagon and I'm the Executive Director of Athena Network. We are a global feminist collective that advances gender equality and human rights in the global response to HIV and AIDS. It's been a really huge pleasure to represent Athena as a member of the Youth Hub Action Learning Group. And a major success for us has really been having access to that space that enabled us step back, look inwards with a lot of humility and open-mindedness to really reassess how we as an organization have been including diverse perspectives in our work and engaging with young women and adolescent girls in all their diversity. With the support of the Youth Hub and several helpful conversations with members of the Action Learning Group, such as Gender Health and Residence Development, we've been able to design a clear plan which helps us to be more intentional about recruiting, engaging, and supporting the diverse young women who will serve as a new cohort of focal points for Athena Network's flagship program, which is known as the What Girls Want program. We are really appreciative of such a dynamic space that enabled strategic learning and co-creation.
Thank you very much, Ola. And I think we can also see Ola reflecting a lot about the space, the meaningful conversations, and most importantly, being able to exchange. Because there are a lot of the issues that we face in this field of adolescent youth sexual reproductive health and right. And for the Hub, we believe in strengthening partnerships. We do not have solutions to offer, but when we bring different stakeholders together, who their roles are researchers, INGOs, implementers, and youth-led organizations, we can share and reflect on some of the common challenges, and the Hub also does provide the support for the organizations to move beyond the reflections to facilitate meaningful dialogues where people are sharing toolkits. You are not just reading a toolkit, but you are actually having the organization that developed it share it with you, why we developed it, what has worked, what did not work. And so these are also some of the very important conversations that we do have within the Youth Hub. So we would be more than happy if you want to hear more about us or know more about the work we also do. But coming back to Anna, so in terms of the processes that we've had so far with the Youth Hub, how would you say this process has contributed, uniquely? Any specific examples of changes you may have want to make or reflections that you are currently having by joining the Action Learning Cycle?
Yeah. I think we try to reflect all the time, but sometimes I think deliverables, activity work plans get in the way of doing this often. And what is exciting about this space is it's been able to allow me to work collaboratively with my colleague Rimjim from India, who couldn't be here today, but she and I are co-leading this work for our organization. And we've been able to look at it from 3 different angles. The first angle being, as an organization, what more can and should we do to act on the intersectional identities of young people, and the young people we already work with, the young people we will work with in the future. But what does that look like on a practical implementation level? How can we roll out new and enhanced tools that build on our core expertise of gender, youth, and social inclusion, but maybe it looks like in a different way? You know, at the project level, my colleague Rimjim is really excited about how do we introduce community level dialogues on intersectionality, specifically for still taboo topics, things like sexual and gender minorities, identity and expression in communities where that really is not acceptable yet. So how do we do that within the context of family planning and reproductive health programs that are focused on the health system? What can we do? Because we can always do more, and I think we're trying to push ourselves. And then as a sector, I would say an organization and part of this sort of global movement, how can we push ourselves and our donors to stop funding siloed approaches to youth SRHR? So no, we're not only going to have a gender program. No, we're not only going to have a youth program. But how do you bring these pieces together and really convince donors that the best investment in the long run is in intersectional approaches? And that's really hard to do, and I'm not sure we figured it out, but we'd love to work with others to do that.
Definitely. I mean, it's difficult to do. We all don't figure it out. And I guess that's what Anna also mentioned, that the hub does provide a space to our action learning cycle to continue to be intentional, to continue to learn from other colleagues, how they are doing it, what is not working, and just be honest. You know, if it's not working, it's not working, and we would want to learn best from you. If we want to collectively advance, you know, some decision making, just to make sure at the end, all of these organizations who are working with young people, who are working in the field of reproductive health and right, strengthen their partnership with a youth-led organization. So thank you, Anna. Maybe my final question, if someone is seated here today or joining us live, and they're like, I want to join the action learning cycle, what one reason would you give them to be part of it?
Yeah, I mean, there's one reason. I feel like I have like seven. But one reason I think is it creates safe space for talking about things that we're not doing well. And I think there's not enough spaces in this world of, you know, limited resources and a lot of competition to say, you know what, this doesn't work, and we need to stop pretending that it works or pitching it in a slightly different way to get it funded, and just say it doesn't work. And we move on and we say, just because something failed doesn't mean it was a good investment and doesn't mean we learned something from it, but we just don't have to do it again.
Thank you so much.